Hello everybody, I'm Leah and I'm here with Jerrica, and this is a special bonus episode because we have been watching Shadow and Bone, and as you guys all know, we have previously been reading Shadow and Bone, so this episode will be a special bonus kind of side story of we'd rather be reading than watching Shadow and Bone. And as you know, Shadow and Bone, the Grishaverse series, is by Leigh Bardugo. And it contains the first trilogy, which is the Shadow and Bone, Siege and Ruin, Rising, something or other. I forget the names of them. And then it's the duology of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. And then after that, we come into the duology that we talked about before, which is the King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. I need to get the order right on the first Shadow and Bone trilogy because I really cannot remember.
Oh no, me neither.
I know the first one, Shadow and Bone, and then the Siege and Ruin is one of them, but
Siege and Storm.
Potentially.
And
look at that, so good at this. So we've been Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising.
Yeah.
Siege and Ruin.
You got it. You got it.
All of
Nailed
them.
it.
I just smushed them together.
So we love reading these books so much, and of course the TV show came out this week, and I wish that we watched it together the whole time because there were so many parts where like, and I'm like messaging you and trying to pay attention to the show.
We watched the first few episodes together, which was great. And then I came home and decided that my family needs to watch this, and I made them watch it.
Yeah.
They did not like it. My husband hung in there for, I think, 3 or 4 episodes before he was like, please stay up as late as you possibly can and watch as many of these episodes as you possibly can so I don't have to watch any more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughters were fine to watch it with me. They were like, Mom, she has magic. And they love magic. And they actually think, because I think it comes from this Elsa and Anna thing, that from Frozen, that there is magic in also children movies. So Sky, my oldest daughter, she thinks that if she spends enough energy moving her arms, then she could shoot out energy at things. And I tell her all the time, whoa, I saw it.
Good. So she's going to be a magician. And my daughter, who's 10 and will be 11 this year, she is awaiting her acceptance letters from Hogwarts because that comes when you're 11, you know. So she is eagerly awaiting this.
Nice.
She would love to go to Hogwarts. It is her dream.
My daughters were okay to watch it, but my husband was not. He said, this is Harry Potter. And I'm like, what are you talking about? These are not baby children.
Oh, and my husband went into freaking... He gets technical with this stuff. He's like, look, it's that blue color that we get. It's not the same as Game of Thrones. You see the crispness of the picture in these special effects. What? And I was like, snore. Can you not just enjoy the actual story? I don't care if you don't like the blue tint in some of the special effects. It doesn't bother me. And he's like, it doesn't bother you? This is really... And he got all upset about it. Not really, but he got very into it, explaining how it was different and actually pulling up pictures on IMDb to show me the differences between the tints of color.
Oh, wow, I'm already asleep.
It was much. It was a lot.
Okay, but the TV series, 8 episodes. I wish there was more. I think they tried to pack a ton of stuff into one, but I really liked where it ended off. They, of course, made it to be the Shadow and Bone book. Yeah. And then plus the Six of Crows characters pre-Six of Crows.
Yes.
So it is 2 years prior to it.
Yeah, and here is where it gets a little bit dicey as far as continuity goes. So I'm just going to vent my continuity issues at first, because I did rage a little bit about this, but then I let it go.
Okay, because have to
the thing
compromise.
Is that by putting the Six of Crows, the crows, into the Shadow and Bone story, they are first off too old to be there. Because this is 2 years before Six of Crows, and they are 17 in Six of Crows. Yeah. This means they would have been 15, and they were not. The people that are in Six of Crows, like... Inesh was not doing this at 15.
No. Inesh was in the menagerie,
She was in the menagerie at 15. So there's messing with the timeline here. That it's not... And I do understand the urge to want to do this, because the crows are, in all honesty, the most fun part about the Grishaverse. Because the Shadow and Bone story on its own, it's... the Messiah story again. Yeah. It's the chosen one, and it's overcoming an evil.
Yep.
Which can be good, but it's also been done a million times, and it can be very boring. So I think...
But Six of Crows is so unique.
But Six of Crows is a heist story. It's fast-paced, they're fun characters, they have great banter, it's many people's point of view. And I read somewhere that Leigh Bardugo actually prefers the Six of Crows, and there's things she would have done differently if she would have written Shadow and Bone now, because she did a lot of like the first book things that I think you learn when you write more books. You know, what to fall into and what not to fall into kind of thing. You look like you want to say something.
Yeah, because this morning I woke up to a notification of a tweet, not of a tweet that is anything having to do with our account, but an account that I followed, another author named Bridget Kemmerer, who wrote the Cursebreaker series that we read together. And this was the tweet that I woke up to. I am so ready for Nikolai.
Yes.
And so this is... Nikolai is coming in on the next...
In the next season.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to. And, I mean, there's characters...
the meme...
But the characters that I'm waiting for, I mean, it's happening. And they try to merge the Crow story into the Shadow and Bone story without derailing the Shadow and Bone story. Because obviously they cannot change it. Because if they change the Shadow and Bone story, then we're not going to end up where Six of Crows is. So they had to kind of put them in. But... there was still stuff in there that made it weird. Like in the Shadow and Bones TV show, when the Crows try to go to Os Alta, to the capital, they take a train. And all I kept thinking is, why are these other idiots taking freaking boats where they're on deck, where they're easily accessible from these Volcra to just be picked off when they could all go in trains? This would be so much easier.
I know. They could go in a train.
Safer.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
And so by merging, by putting them in there, it kind of makes the other choices a bit stupid.
Okay, I see what you mean. Like creating this giant boat where the Volcra just snatch you off of it when you can be in a train.
When someone has a train that goes across it. Yeah. And there's a bit of rail missing. But if they can put markers and stuff down in the fold, like they could
definitely build it.
They could do, tracks. So that was one thing, and then
but the goat
was the age thing. But then the introduction of Saint Milo, the goat. Oh my God, he is like clearly my favorite character. And I watched the after party. Did you watch the after party?
No.
Oh, it's on Netflix. The after party, and it's so funny. And they turn out there's two goats that they filmed with, and one of them would scream the whole time, and the other one would poop the whole time.
Oh no!
So hilarious. Anyways,
but the comforting goat for Jesper. I have to say, Jesper did a 180 for me.
Oh my God, I loved him in the TV show.
In the books, I was like, womp Jesper. Like he was not an addict, but he was a gambling.
He's unreliable.
Yeah, okay.
He's like, I think that's in the book because there's so much in the Six of Crows. There's so much hanging on everyone doing their part.
Yeah.
And every time Jasper does something, he goes against what he needs to do because he always
sort
gambles.
of fucks things up
and he fucks
a few
things
times.
Up.
But not in this TV series.
Don't like him like that. But I mean, he does because he gets not enough coal.
Okay.
I mean, he still does. But he's still
true to himself. But the actor does a phenomenal job.
Oh my God, yes.
And you love him. And his like Quixie's relationship with that hot surfer guy. And you're like, thank you for this. This was...
Oh, it was great.
It was a beautiful thing.
I love Jesper
more than anyone in this series.
And I have fallen in love with Ben Barnes with the Darkling. Oh my God, he looks a lot like my husband.
He does. No, okay, fine a little bit, but I have goosebumps thinking of like his suaveness and everything too.
Oh, he's just hot.
I was ready.
I follow him on Instagram now. I'm all... He made it into the hot guys I follow on Instagram.
I was so ready in that scene where he asked Selena, "Are you sure you want this?" And she's like, yeah, stop talking. But then, of course, they get interrupted and don't end up having sex. But I was like, are they gonna do this?
No, but they don't in the book either.
No, but it doesn't matter. But I think that everyone is a Darkling fan. So I really wanted more of him. Though I have to say, the actor of Mal did a phenomenal job.
God, yeah.
And you really like Mal more in the TV show than you like him in the books also.
Yes.
In the books,
but I like Alina more in the TV show than I like her in the book. She is a little bit boring in the books.
Yeah, but she's also a tiny bit boring in the TV show too.
Yeah,
and
but she was...
the reason in the books we had a lot of back and forth, the two of us, was like she's special because of her powers.
But her powers are useless.
But they should have been more...
as far as the TV show goes, I think I still prefer reading to watching pretty much always.
Yeah.
Because I like getting it in my head. And especially the Crows, I think their story, I cannot wait to see their proper, like the Six of Crows heist that they do in the books. That's going to come in the next season. But I found a little bit too that the meshing of the two was a little bit unnecessary. I would have honestly probably preferred it if it would have been two separate shows within the same universe, and they could have been dropped at the same time. That could have been cool. Or if they would have been like every other episode kind of thing. But the fact that Netflix, I'm guessing, tried to mash them together into one, it messes a little bit too much with the timeline for my comfort zone, me who likes continuity. It puts people where they're not supposed to be, because Nina's not supposed to be with Matthias. I freaking hate that pronunciation.
Okay, but that's because you're Swedish, and here we call
it's a fucking Swedish name. I'm sorry.
Is it though?
Yes,
but it doesn't. Okay, so let's just say Matthias is a Swedish name, but here you pronounce it Matthias.
Matthias.
But the girl is British, Leah. You've lived in London.
I would have still been Matthias.
Have you never heard of Matthias? Like, Matthias is Matthias all the time.
I've never met a single Matthias that's not been Swedish or Norwegian.
Oh, I have. And we call them Matthias. And same with Linus. We call them Linus.
Oh, but that I know.
Okay, but
Linus is a thing.
You're so shocked, though.
Because Matthias is not a thing. Okay. Anyways.
But they're not supposed to be where they are, but that is their story.
Yeah, but Nina is supposed to be with Zoya.
I know.
In the Shadow and Bones, which is... And it is fine. I mean, it's not a major change. It works out. It changes where she gets captured. It doesn't really matter. You know, it's okay. I think they've done the changes in an okay way. There's nothing that's super upsetting. But for myself, what I would have liked to see from it is I think that the Six of Crows would have made a phenomenal TV show on its own.
For sure.
And the Shadow and Bone, I think the only reason we have the Six of Crows in there is because the Shadow and Bones on its own would have been a bit boring.
I see what you mean. I don't mind the integration, but I do think then it needed to be twice as long of a season. Yeah. So we needed to get to know the Six of Crows characters a little bit more. We needed to see the interaction with the Shadow and Bone characters a little bit more also, because we're supposed to think that there's some relationship going on between the Darkling and Alina.
Yeah.
But then very soon after, she escapes and runs away, and now the rest of the TV show is her and Mal on the run. And that is a big part of the books, of course. But we do have a lot more in the books of the building of the relationship between the Darkling and Alina.
But I did
and also
hear
Zoya.
that they shortened the season. It was supposed to be 12.
It was supposed to be.
I think so. And then it was shortened.
That's disappointing. I wish that it was 12. Because when it was the 8th, and I'm like, okay, they're obviously tying this up to end this here. And then the next season is going to continue, of course, where it did in the next book. But I really did want it to be longer. That being said, you know how much I love Matthias, right? Or Matthias, I don't know what you want me to call him.
Matthias in my heart. Yeah.
Okay, but I love Matthias. When he died, I cried. Spoiler alert, that happens in the second Six of Crows book.
Crooked Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, Crooked Kingdom. And I so was like... Please don't mess up Matthias. Like, I love him so much. And him and Nina's relationship. And they're just so funny. They're like one of those couples that you, like, root for. And you can't wait till they come into the next scene. Because you know they're going to be hilarious.
Yes.
So I have to say, I'm so on board with the casting of those two. The way Matthias's voice is. And his accent. Oh, my God, I love.
I mean, it was great. I think
and when he gets mad at her and he's like,
casting all around is fantastic, I would say. I still have some issues with cast.
No. But, like, we have pumped up the casting right now. But I have to say,
beforehand.
Zoya is not Zoya.
Zoya and Kaz should
Kaz is just too harsh. Yeah. Like, if he could be like edited down, you know? Like, I feel like all of the scowling and stuff. Yeah, sure.
He does that,
it's
but
very
he needs
Kazish, but it doesn't need to be sharp, like as if he looks elfin. You know what I mean?
He does need to look elfin.
You love elves, okay. But I think I was disappointed with Kaz because I was
disappointed with Kaz because I wanted him to be hotter, and I'm sorry if...
No, but the actor is hot, but they edited him to be like a little bit too sharp. but not in a masculine, aggressive way, the way Kaz is. Like, Kaz is a little beaten up here and there. I'm sure he has a ton more scars on his face than this pretty boy has. But they tried to make him look harsher. But I don't think that they really hit the mark, because I was kind of like, ooh, in some scenes. And with Zoya, she's supposed to be like the most drop-dead gorgeous, like can't even look at her without dropping your pants.
Pretty much.
Type of person. But her hair is not brushed in some scenes. She's like disheveled.
And I'm sorry, I hate
like,
the bangs.
The bangs, the editing of her was off also.
Yeah.
Not to say that the actress isn't beautiful. She's super beautiful. But they could have put, like, let's say, more sparkly makeup on her. I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
There could have been some more, like,
but
capturing of the eye.
This is true. But otherwise, the casting, Jesper is fantastic. Inesh is fantastic. The Darkling, yes, please. Mal, much better. I love Mal now. Also. I did not like Mal in the book. He was boring. You wanted him to die the whole time. I was not quite as harsh on Mal as you were, but
he's a tracker. Yeah. He's going to die now. Now the letters are going to end. He's going to die. And then even when they get together, I'm like, but wait, he's going to have to go into battle at some point. I just hope he dies in this battle.
Yeah, no.
Because I was rooting for Alina to be with the Darkling in some fated twist of, you know, I love mating and things like that.
Yeah.
And
I think Alina was good as well. She was good.
Yeah. Like, I like her personality a lot, for sure.
I think she's good casting.
She's good casting. But like you said, like, she has never been, like, this, like, superstar character. So I don't.
But I only remember Alina with blonde hair, which is the issue, because her hair goes white at some point. Yeah. But I'd forgotten that it wasn't white the whole time.
Right.
So I was like, what? She has black hair. But Alina's supposed to be white-haired. And then I was all upset about that for a while before I realized, oh yeah, it turns white. Turns white. Okay.
Right. But I like the little interaction that Alina had with the Six of Crows characters, because you don't get to see that in the books.
Because it doesn't happen in the books.
It doesn't happen, but I mean, like, that was a little special. Like,
and I think if they had to be integrated, which clearly someone decided they had to be, it was well enough done. Because Alina does escape, and then it's just funny that it's the Six of Crows that help her get away, that she escapes in their carriage.
Yeah.
And then, but I found it to be unnecessary that the crows were away, because the way Cass needed to be in Ketterdam to build his place at that stage, if he would have gone on this like trapezing around freaking Ravka, this would not work as far as the story goes.
Right.
From where he's at, the role he holds, where everyone's supposed to be at this time, and also he would have been too young.
Okay. But I don't mind that if we are going to push time forward, that they're 19 and 6 of Crows.
Oh, I don't mind that either. They should have been older. They should have been 20, 22, 25.
Yeah.
Easily. That would have made the story better. But I think this is probably an editor thing rather than anything else. Because editors seem to like their young adult main characters to be 17.
Because of young adult rules. They need to be under 18 years old.
But they don't need to be, but they seem to be like...
If it's like plus 18, then it's new adult. Or it might skirt around the concern that it's new adult.
Yeah.
But these are young adult books. But overall, I super loved, like, the graphics. I thought, even though your husband is complaining about a few things...
He complains a lot, so let's disregard
you guys,
that.
The two of you. I just can't wait to go have dinner with you guys.
Different things. Different things. No, but I mean, he's. I think it's with him is because he worked in movies and stuff like that. So this is stuff that he actually cares about.
Right.
Whereas I've never worked in movies,
but you very much care about continuity.
Care about continuity, yeah. But I don't care about the coloring. Like I cared a lot. And like, okay, I'm talking a lot about Twilight, so I should stop talking about Twilight. But I liked the first Twilight movie, the way it was shot with that filter, and I hated the second one because they looked all too healthy. It gave everyone like a nice glow, where they're supposed to be like pale white, but they were like slightly golden in their skin tone. And I'm like, nah, this is wrong. You guys are doing it wrong. Right. Anyways, that's as far as my caring about, filters and stuff goes.
So what are your hopes?
I care about Instagram filters when I post photos of myself.
Okay. Okay, so since I wanted to have a little editing and tailoring, I suppose, from the costume department for both Kaz and Zoya.
And also for this episode, some editing and tailoring.
Some editing and tailoring, how about that?
I thought that else were you going to say? I was sure you were like
I was heading into
this with like editing and tailoring.
I am.
Like, I need my personal agenda for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
How nice would it be?
I'd be like, look, I'm feeling a little bit. Can you just?
Yeah.
I'd keep her like the queen. Like, I'm sorry, I'd be that bitch.
I actually liked in the show where she was like, hey, Jenya, can you just like a little bit like do the hand thing or like just a teeny bit here, a teeny bit there. Yeah. And then she like does the coloring from the beetle. I thought that was so clever, like really clever.
Because they do that in the book.
Yeah.
Like they need the kit.
But I mean the way that they
Which is then...
But so
let's
anyways,
not get into details here.
What would you like to happen for the upcoming season? What are your like wishes and dreams and hopes?
Well, I cannot wait to see Nikolai. And seriously here, we have some issues with your casting of Cass and of Zoya. So if you mess up Nikolai, we will divorce you.
Divorce you? I will be so upset.
We will be book only.
You did so good on Matthias that I'm so happy because Matthias and Nikolai is
Jesper and Mal and the Darkling.
Exactly.
See,
but like
great.
Matthias and Nikolai, they're my two favorite of all of the books, those two characters.
Because mine was Cass.
I know.
And I am disappointed. And it's not... I mean, it's just that I saw Cass as more black-haired, dark-eyed kind of thing than this. Because he's a bit too blonde, too. And I think this is my issue.
That was your issue. I thought that he was a little too blonde. I mean, the acting is good. And his like scowls and stares and all the stuff is really well done. But at the same time, I thought he would be a little bit more like London street rough.
Yeah.
Like footballer club goonie rough.
Soccer.
Oh, sorry, soccer.
Yeah. We're not talking American football or rough here because that's not London rough.
No.
I'm just saying, since we have this issue here with football and soccer, we should clarify.
You're right. I meant footballer as in soccer player London. Okay.
Rough.
So that's how I saw Cass. So what do you want for the next season? What you want Nikolai? Don't we all?
Of course we do. And Tamar and Tolia. Oh my god, I am excited about Tamar and Tolia.
Like? They need to be so small and so big.
Yes, I am excited about Tamar and Tolia, and they are Shuhan as well.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I can't wait to see them. I really don't know what they're going to do with the crows. I'm kind of hoping that the crows are going to stay in Ketterdam and we would see more of the lead up, maybe some more backstory.
Yeah.
Cass backstory, some Inesh backstory, a little bit of this, like, and get more of a lead up to the big heist that they're going to do, because I don't see how they can do the heist with book 2.
No.
Like, either they're going to have to do what they did with this one and just do a pretend heist kind of thing.
Right.
Like, make a new one up. But I'm
fine with that also.
Yeah.
Because I don't see...
But I don't want them to try to go back into Ravka. This will be like a repetition. They're going to need to do something else.
But I don't really see how they're going to move forward with just then leaving the Shadow and Bone story. And all of those actors are then out of a job. I mean...
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the Shadow and Bones is going to keep going. Book 2, where she gets captured by the apparatus and all of that. It will be... But then we will cut through the Ketterdam story, the Crow story, but they won't try to go in. This is what, like, I see them more as the timeline, like, as the story separating, kind of what they were doing at the end of this book. And in the beginning, like, before they go into Ravka, like, there's ties between them, but they don't need to be in the same place. That's more what I'm saying, because making up another heist where the crows are going to go gallivanting around the Ravka again, like, they just did that. Yeah. It was already done. And they can't go on the Fjerda mission quite yet.
No.
Because, well, maybe they can do the first Six-Or Crow book, actually, kind of in parallel, because it's the Crooked Kingdom that happens after the events, where they kind of go into each other a bit.
I have a question. What do you think they're going to do from Sturmhond to Nikolai? Do you think they're going to make Nikolai in costume with, like, beard and extended chin and big nose and stuff like that? Or are they going to have another actor?
That's a good question. I think they should do him in prosthetics, so we still get the mannerism kind of thing.
Okay.
Because you can do a lot of good things with makeup these days in Hollywood, even if we're not tailors like Jenya.
But, I mean, it is... Jenya does an amazing job at tailoring, so it can be that she has helped or another tailor has helped And I have really high hopes for what Nikolai looks like and how suave his personality is, how clever and like quick-witted he can be. So, I'm so like nervous of who they're gonna cast. I'm so freaking nervous.
Yes.
Also, he has to be lighter haired and lighter skin because that's what he is in the book.
Yeah, because massive spoiler, his daddy is fjärden.
Exactly.
So this would make him very pale-skinned and pale-haired. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's been renewed yet for season 2 or 3.
I think so. I mean...
I hope so.
People wouldn't announce Nikolai coming.
No, maybe they had a 3-season deal already to begin with. I'm sure. I know they haven't filmed it yet, so I guess we will have to sit on pins and needles for a year.
Yeah, maybe,
or more.
maybe. I sure hope that. Because my hopes for the next season, I want them to fix a little bit of the Zoya, like, glam. She needs to be more glamorous. Same actress, fine, more glamorous. Cass, he needs to be...
Get rid of the bangs.
Yeah.
Of Zoya, not on Cass.
Or, like make her hair a little shinier, you know? She has to be, like, glowing, this woman. Yeah. Where people, like, stop in their tracks and stare at her. Yeah. Right now, she's just bitchy and talented.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I also want Kaz to be a little bit more
We need to dye his hair.
Street.
Give him some contact lenses. Yeah. He needs to frown slightly less. Because he's got really frowny eyebrows to begin with, in all honesty. So he just looks super pissed off most of the time. He's not supposed to not look pissed off, but he looks like he's murderous.
But there needs to be some moments where he looks at Inej and gives her, like, Google eyes. But I'm not sure how he's going to do that with the current state of...
We'll see. Okay. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. And maybe we'll get some more books in this universe. We're hoping for more Six of Crows books.
Yes!
And that will be super exciting. And until then, I guess we're just going to have to read other books because...
Boring.
We can't really stop reading just because
we can't stop reading because of this.
It's impossible. But thanks so much for listening to this little bonus where we realize, or I at least realized, that I'd rather be reading than watching. What do you think?
I liked watching, but at the same time, I was like, I'm so glad I read these books.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
I tend to be reader rather than watcher pretty much all the time.
But I'm super happy to get to see it, really like it visually, how they look and how they act. So and thank you so much for this series.
They did a great job with the visuals. Yeah. Like the fold was amazing. Yeah. Anyways, thanks so much for listening.
Bye.
We'd Rather Be Reading is an original podcast by Jerrica and Leah Sanford. The music for The Penguins, written and performed by David Allred from the album The Transition, courtesy of Erased Tapes. Please check him out on Spotify and check us out on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at We'd Rather Be Reading and on Twitter at We'd Rather Read. You can also email us at we'dratherbereadingthepod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.